Hey, what's up everybody? Giovanna back again for another video, and today we will be talking about Luke Skywalker. So, as you've been seeing like on Twitter, ever since the sequel trilogy came out, people have been trying to call out flaws from the original trilogy and even the prequels, because they think people are overly criticizing Rey, which I think it's fair to criticize Rey. You know, I don't think she's the greatest Star Wars character to like be in the universe, but then again, you have idiots that try to say that Luke is a Gary Stu because his training was too short. He never really knew how to pilot well, which can all be debunked in like a matter of seconds. Let's be real. I mean, come on, like Luke and Anakin are like the most like human characters ever. Like everyone's like, oh, but little Annie did a pod race and he used the Force to win. It doesn't really work like that because Anakin is the chosen one. Lucas could have made him like do whatever the fuck he wanted, like when he was a kid. You know, Anakin is like the most powerful Jedi to ever live until fucking Rey came around. And I kind of argue here and there. I mean, my thoughts are changing that Rey can be considered more powerful than Anakin at times because there was a Force Awakens concept art that showed that Rey was lifting the Death Star. I just have no comment. Like, that's literally insane because she has had no Force training. She just raised herself on a desert and she's just, yeah, like, I don't get it. Like, I get where some of her independence comes, but, like, I don't understand how you could just Force pull a lightsaber, not even knowing really what the Force is and believing it's a myth, and just training another, like, fighting another Force user, Kylo Ren, who's been training since he was a young boy, and beat him. It makes no fucking sense. And sure, it's just bad writing. I agree. There's a lot of bad writing in Star Wars. No one ever said the original trilogy was perfect. I think the original trilogy is far from perfect. Even the prequels are obviously far from perfect. But then if you're going to go call Luke a Gary Stu to try and justify the fact that Rey just sucks, then I'm sorry, you're just a moron. Because Luke, like, so here's just my long rant about Luke. We saw Luke as a naive teenager who wanted to go out there in the big world, but his aunt and uncle were restraining him from it. So then he goes, like, he has these two droids, and then, yeah, old man, he learns about the Force. He's like, I want to become a Jedi like my father before me. Luke always had that hope. He was a new hope. That was why Episode 4 is called what it's called, because of Luke Skywalker, because he's obviously the main protagonist of these three movies. But he's not, like, perfect. Like, he did train with Ben Kenobi. He knew what the Force was. But I do agree, like, his training was way too short in Empire Strikes Back, but, like, you saw him fail. Like, was he able to lift up the X-Wing the first time? No. But was Rey able to Force pull the first time? Yes. Even when Luke Force pulled in that Wampa cave, he like, as you saw, like, he was, like, deep breath, and then he pulled it back again. So it shows that he did fail. Luke had many failures. Luke is possibly the most inspiring humanistic character ever. And then everyone says Luke doesn't know how to fly an X-Wing. Well, in the EU, I think it was explained that how like a T-16 land speeder was similar to it or whatever. Luke didn't know how to do Force choke. Well, it was assumed during between Empire and Return of the Jedi that Luke actually trained on his own a bit. He learned how to build a lightsaber. I mean, his lightsaber is based off of Ben Kenobi's. They both have the thin neck, and like they're very similar. They're just really fucking different colors, really. But he at least knew what everything was. I do agree, Luke's training was too short. Luke started too old. I do agree with that because the prequels kind of stupidly created that plot hole for the original trilogy. But then again, you still have morons that try to justify the sequel trilogy by using the flaws of the original trilogy, by saying that, oh, Luke didn't know how to do this, Anakin didn't know how to do this. But the problem is, when you try and go make a ripoff of the original trilogy, you can't do that, because I think what made the OT so great for its time was the fact that it just didn't feel the need to explain everything. And that's exactly why George went with prequels instead of sequels. So everything like the Clone Wars could be explained. Like, how did Luke end up with his aunt and uncle? The story of Anakin's rise and fall. And that's essentially what the first 6 episodes are about, is Anakin's rise and fall. So, and then you just have the sequels, which are just, there's just obviously a ton of space and time happen, a lot of things can change. But a movie that needs that much external explanation now, and in like modern times, and like Star Wars, like everyone wants everything to be explained, and I get it, like time to change it. And yes, what made the original trilogy good was the mystery, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, there was plot holes in the OT. Yeah, that's why fucking Lucas went with prequels. I will never stop saying that. But and obviously, yes, there are still some holes that could be filled with the prequels and the originals. I won't deny that. But you can't make a ripoff of the original trilogy and just have books and comics that are released that are trying to explain it and justify it. Because a movie that needs that much external explanation is not a good movie. So that's what I really think. I really hope with 9 that they're, I mean, a little off topic, but I really hope with 9 that they're going to kind of answer everything, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just, like, leave the mystery. You know, it's not fun anymore because it's already done. It's a bland idea. So it's just, like, it's boring. Like, it's, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, everyone in this trilogy, like, nobody really had, like, a massive flaw. Like, sure, you could say that Poe failed, like, as a leader or something because fucking Rian Johnson wanted to put Holdo there because respect Whammon, but even Finn, like, I still think he could have had more of an arc with Phasma. I think killing off Captain Phasma in episode 8 wasn't a great idea. I think that they should have had him more as a hero character with an arc rather than a vehicle for bad dad jokes. And that's where, like, yeah, because I get it, John Boyega's like that outgoing, funny person, but I don't think he should have been like that in the movie. I think they should have taken Finn a little bit more seriously because his backstory was cool. He's probably one of the more original characters of this trilogy. The fact that he is a stormtrooper, but he's not like the rest. Like, I think that was pretty cool. But then again, like, he's just like, I even had a problem with him using a lightsaber. So don't call me fucking sexist. I had problems with both Rey and Finn going up against Kylo Ren, a trained Force user, because that means nothing established in the first 6 episodes are no longer special. But back again to Luke Skywalker, he's nowhere near a Gary Stu for just that much of a writing flaw. Like, Rey has a laundry list of problems. And it's not because, like, I mean, I want to not think that they were pushing an agenda with these movies, but it seems like the reality is that they were trying to make a good female lead, and it kind of just failed. So it made the writers and directors look more bad than they already do with their propaganda and bullshit. But it's just, like, Rey is basically the more perfect version of Luke. Like, the OT and the sequel trilogy have the same storyline. Like, Rey's arc is probably going to play out the same as Luke's. Like, she comes back in 9 as a Jedi because there's rumors that Leia's going to train her. Like, some things just don't make the mythology to Star Wars, like, I don't think it was preserved in this trilogy. That's the thing. Like, I know I was supposed to be talking about Luke being a Gary Stu, but then again, I kind of got off topic and just talking about how shitty the sequel trilogy is. And, you know, I'm forcing myself to like this trilogy, but it's just not working. You know, I might watch the movies again sometime. Maybe my opinion will change. But, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I certainly don't think Luke is a Gary Stu, but anyone who wants to argue that, go ahead and look more stupid than you already do. But peace out.